Why one small comment can break you. You walk into a room. Someone laughs. You don't know why. But your stomach tightens. Your shoulders stiffen. Your brain starts writing a story. Was it me? Did I do something wrong? Do they know something I don't? One glance, one sound, one comment you weren't meant to hear, and suddenly your whole sense of self collapses. Why does this happen? Why can a single moment of uncertainty ruin an entire day? Because deep down, many of us were trained to scan for danger. Not lions or tigers, but rejection, embarrassment, being seen the wrong way. So we spend our lives overreacting to whispers, chasing approval, spiraling in silence. And that's where the trap begins. You're not weak. You're just untrained. Because no one taught you this. The way you respond to small slights shapes how the world sees you. And Nietzsche? He saw it clearly. He who cannot command himself must obey. Obey what? Your fears, your wounds, your craving to be seen. But here's the question that changes everything. What if the emotion you think is real is just untrained energy? And what if the version of you that doesn't flinch, doesn't chase, doesn't collapse, was only one discipline away? The philosophical trap. Behind your reactions. You've been told that emotions are honest, that how you feel is the most authentic part of you. But here's the philosophical gut punch. What if your feelings are lying? Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." That nervousness, that rage, that aching need to be respected, it might not be you. It might be your past, puppeteering the present. Nietzsche went even further. He didn't just challenge morality or society. He challenged the self. To him, most people are actors in a play they never wrote, reacting to scripts written by fear, culture, and wounded pride. He called it slavery of the spirit, not a metaphor, a diagnosis. Schopenhauer echoed the same. Man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills. In other words, your reactions feel like choices, but they're echoes. So here's the mind-bending shift. If you want true freedom, you don't need more motivation. You need to confront the part of you that reacts before you think. Because until you master that, you're not free. You're just well-performed. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a moment where someone's silence hurt more than words? They didn't yell. They didn't insult you. They just looked away, dismissed you, ignored your effort. And yet, it pierced through your calm like a blade. You spiraled, replayed it again and again in your mind. Why? Because what we call overreaction is often unprocessed history masquerading as the present. That wasn't just about this person. That was about every person who ever made you feel invisible. The shadow doesn't speak in logic. It speaks in echoes. Carl Jung called it the part of ourselves we exile, our rejected feelings, our forgotten anger, our buried shame. And when it gets poked, even gently, it doesn't whisper. It roars. Imagine your emotional life as a control room. You think your adult self is running the show. But under stress, it's the 7-year-old, the teenager, the scared artist, the betrayed partner. Old scripts running on today's face. You're in a brainstorming session. You pitch an idea that feels bold, raw, alive. The room goes quiet. Then someone chuckles. Not cruelly, just carelessly. Suddenly your heart races, your throat dries. You feel 2 inches tall. You walk away thinking, I guess I'm not cut out for this. But is that the truth? Or is it an old wound dressed in new clothes? Because that reaction might have started years ago, in an art class, when someone rolled their eyes at your sketch, or when a sibling mocked your dreams. That's the trick of the shadow. It uses the present to resolve the past, and fails, again and again. Now let's add ego to the mix. Ego isn't just arrogance, it's your identity trying to protect itself from annihilation. When someone contradicts you, it doesn't feel like disagreement, it feels like danger. So the ego jumps in. Defend, deflect, dominate. But here's the problem. Ego doesn't care about truth. It cares about survival. and survival often looks like performance. You become loud when you feel unheard. You become passive when you feel unsafe. You mirror the herd not because you agree, but because you fear exile. The herd mind is real. We scroll, we like, we nod, not to connect, but to belong. We avoid conflict not from peace, but from fear. Fear of being the outlier. Fear of losing the safety of sameness. Even in creative spaces, startups, design teams, artist collectives, the same dynamic plays out. One bold opinion can silence a room, not because people disagree, but because they're calculating. Will I be next? So we dilute our voices. We soften our edges. We perform neutrality and call it maturity. But deep down, there's a cost. You lose track of what you actually think. You become fluent in external validation, but clumsy in inner knowing. You don't trust your gut, you outsource it. And when your intuition does speak, you second guess. You hesitate. You scroll it away. This is not a flaw, it's a pattern. And all patterns can be disrupted. But first, they must be seen. Nietzsche once warned, "He who cannot command himself must obey." Obey what? Old wounds, social scripts, the fear of not fitting in. And this obedience becomes a loop. React, regret, suppress, repeat. Until one day you realize you're not leading your life. You're managing emotional landmines. Let's pause here. You are not broken. You are not weak. You're likely just untrained. No one taught you how to identify your emotional flashpoints, how to sit with shame without turning it into performance, how to move through judgment without collapsing into approval-seeking. But what if you could learn, not just to suppress, but to transmute, not to pretend you don't feel, but to own the fact that you do, and then decide with intention. Here's the new path. First, pause and name the emotion. Second, ask where it really began. Third, refuse to obey it blindly. This doesn't make you less sensitive. It makes you dangerously clear. And when clarity replaces reactivity, people around you feel it. You stop flinching. You start choosing. Because now it's not your shadow reacting, it's yourself responding. And that right there is the beginning of sovereignty. What if emotions weren't something to manage, but territory to reclaim? That's the difference between reaction and command. One obeys, the other chooses. Let's bring that into focus. You're in a meeting. Someone dismisses your idea. Old self, deflate, over-explain, internalize. New self, you breathe. You hold your posture. You say, "That's an interesting angle. Let's explore both." You didn't perform calmness. You became it. This is emotional sovereignty, not perfection, not politeness, but internal clarity, rooted in stillness. Let's define 3 strategic disciplines that turn emotional chaos into composure. 1. Emotional self-command. This isn't bottling up, it's rechanneling. You still feel anger, but now it signals a boundary. You still feel sadness, but it deepens your compassion. You don't fight your emotions, you frame them. You convert raw reaction into meaningful response. When your inner world stops panicking, your outer world starts aligning. 2. Strategic silence. In a culture obsessed with speed, slowness is subversive. Instead of interrupting, you listen. Instead of replying instantly, you pause. Instead of flooding emotion, you filter it. Strategic silence isn't weakness. It's presence. It's letting your absence speak when noise has no value. The most powerful people don't rush to defend their stance. They let silence do the work. 3. Sovereignty. This is the crown you wear inside your chest. No one gave it to you, and no one can take it. It means your reactions are no longer leased to other people's behavior. It means you don't need to be right. You need to be rooted. You can say no without guilt. You can be misunderstood without unraveling. You can walk away, not out of ego, but out of clarity. Sovereignty is not loud. It's not dramatic. It's simply unbothered. Let's ground this in real moments. Scenario 1. Passive-aggressive comment. Someone takes a jab at you in a team setting. You feel the heat rise. Old script, you laugh it off, but resent them silently for weeks. New script, you breathe. Later you say, "That comment landed off for me. I value directness over jokes that undercut." Clear, calm, no theatrics. That's sovereignty in real time. Scenario 2, romantic trigger. Your partner forgets your request. Old self, emotional shutdown, sarcasm, withdrawal. New self. Hey, when that was missed, I felt unimportant. I know it's probably not the intention, but it matters. That's not weakness. That's emotional clarity. Scenario 3, high stakes pressure. You're pitching. You sense the room is skeptical. Old self, speed up, try to win them over. New self, you slow down. You breathe. You anchor in your message. You remember, I don't need to prove. I just need to transmit. That's what strategic presence looks like under fire. This shift isn't cosmetic. It's foundational. You're not performing. You're rewriting the script. And that script now includes a pause before panic, a breath before belief, a space between stimulus and identity. That space is where freedom lives. Every day you train this, you get a little quieter inside, but your presence gets louder. Others may not understand what changed, but they'll feel it. You're no longer ruled by your past. You're steering, and the world adjusts, not because you're forcing it, but because you've become immovable. That is the essence of the new identity. Not louder, not faster, but clearer. From reactivity to response, from approval to alignment, from noise to gravity. Insight without application is a hollow victory. This part isn't about understanding. It's about embodying. Let's turn emotional sovereignty from concept to practice. These are 3 field-tested tools that not only shift behavior, but alter the atmosphere inside your body. You won't need a journal or a coach, just awareness and repetition. 1. The 3-second rule of response. Before you reply to any trigger, take 3 seconds. 3 full conscious breaths. Inhale through your nose. Hold. Exhale slowly. Scan. Is this response aligned or defensive? You'll feel your heartbeat slowing. You'll notice your jaw loosening. Your shoulders drop as if your body itself is choosing to de-escalate. These micropauses are micro-revolutions. Each one breaks the chain of compulsion. Try it. In a heated Slack message. When a friend interrupts you. When you see a triggering comment online. You'll start to notice. You are no longer the same person who used to need the last word. 2. Emotional audit, daily reflection. Every night, give yourself 5 quiet minutes. Ask, what emotion took the lead today? What moment challenged my center? What belief drove my reaction? How would the sovereign version of me respond next time? This isn't a chore, it's a recalibration. Imagine lighting a candle in a dark room. That's what this does for your awareness. You start to see the hidden architecture of your inner world. You might realize, I felt dismissed, not because of what they said, but because I believed I wasn't valuable. That clarity softens you, but not into weakness, into choice. 3. The sovereign sentence. Pick a phrase that anchors you, one that recenters your nervous system when you feel pulled by emotion. Examples: this is training, not threat. I serve the signal, not the noise. Pause is power. Now visualize. You're in a conversation that starts to feel emotionally tight. You want to speak, defend, correct. Instead, you whisper the sentence to yourself. And something shifts. Your chest, once tight, opens. Your breath deepens. The room feels slower, less charged. It's like dropping an anchor into chaos. And suddenly, you become the calm. This sentence isn't magic, but with time, it becomes a neural redirect from old story to new identity. Bonus. The strategic delay. 1 day a week. Commit to this. When something provokes your ego, don't respond for 12 hours. No replies, no venting, no story sharing. Just sit with it. It will burn. It will itch. It will feel unnatural, like holding your breath underwater. But you'll notice. By hour 8, the intensity drops. By hour 12, your perspective widens. And sometimes, you won't even feel the need to respond at all. You didn't suppress. You metabolized. This tool teaches you to value inner peace over outer validation. And the best part? That restraint becomes visible. People around you begin to respect your stillness. Because in a world of reactivity, stillness has weight. 30-day integration challenge. Ready to install this into your nervous system? Try this challenge. For 30 days, use the 3-second rule at least once daily. Do a nightly emotional audit. Repeat your sovereign sentence each morning and before tough interactions. Practice strategic delay once a week. Track it. Not perfectly, but honestly. You'll feel the shifts. Less urgency. More space. Conversations that used to rattle you now feel like puzzles, not attacks. And by the end of 30 days, you won't just know emotional command. You'll embody it. Share your shift. What will your sovereign sentence be? When did you last feel your body override your better judgment? Which of these tools do you want to master first? Drop it in the comments. Let this be your first non-reactive action. This is more than a video. It's a training ground. Welcome to your practice. Welcome to your edge. Welcome to your center. This is more than a video. It's a training ground. Welcome to your practice. Welcome to your edge. Welcome to your center. And if you actually live these tools, even imperfectly, something strange begins to happen. You start to carry something subtle. Weight, presence, gravity. People won't be able to name it, but they'll feel it. In your silence, in your slowness, in the way you hold your gaze. Now, picture this. You enter the same room, same people, same tension in the air. But something's different. It's not them, it's you. You move slower, you listen more, you speak less. But when you do, every word lands. Because now, your silence carries gravity. Your presence speaks before your mouth opens. You no longer react to every glance, every slight. You don't need to be louder to be heard. You don't need to prove who you are. You are the calm in the room. That's what transformation feels like. It's not external. It's internal. It's not noisy. It's grounded. Nietzsche didn't want you to suppress your fire. He wanted you to aim it, to sharpen it, to stand still enough that the world has no choice but to feel your weight. So here's your invitation. If any part of this video resonated with you, don't just nod. Don't just share. Live it. Try one tool today. Let one breath replace a reaction. Let one pause replace a spiral. And if you do, you're not just watching a video. You're rewriting your identity, not for applause, not for revenge, but for presence. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more grounded minds. And you just might be one of them. Next, how to stop apologizing for who you are. Before you go. Let me leave you with one thought. What if your strength wasn't in how loudly you speak, but in how little you need to? That's the version of you we're building here. Not louder, clearer, not aggressive, commanding. And this is just the beginning. Because in the next video, we're going to explore a paradox you've probably lived through. How to stop apologizing when you're not wrong, without losing respect. It's not about pride. It's about power. Silent, strategic, centered. So if you've ever said sorry just to keep the peace, even when you knew you were right, you won't want to miss what's next. Subscribe, comment your biggest insight below, and most of all, keep building the version of you that doesn't flinch. This isn't just a channel. This is a mindset, a rebellion against reactivity, and you're already part of it. Until next time, live wisely, lead quietly, and never beg for respect again. Train until it follows you in silence.